I've got a son who's going to be a senior at Ohio State next year, and I've taken him fishing every year for years and years and years, and for like the last 8 years we go steelhead fishing. And if you know what steelhead fishing is, that's done in the winter time when the fish are coming back in out of the lake. So the water's like 36 degrees, and you're standing in this cold water. And he's been going with me for 6 or 7. He's never caught a fish. I've caught some, but I mean, that's just the way it is. Sometimes you just don't catch them. But he still goes, and I appreciate that. The ducks are laughing at us. Quacking green-headed maniacs, we in our rubber waders, thigh deep in the gin-clear river flow, vacuum-compressed, shrink-wrapped, cool against our legs. The leaves balance on surface-tensed fingertips as if they were afraid to get their bellies wet. Conveyor belt riding the stream while the auburn autumn sun glows lukewarm at the treetop, and these manistee strange steelheads couldn't be less impressed with our spinners, our egg sacs, jigs and maggots, or anything else we've decided to throw at them. Now a river is nothing but a waterfall lying on its back. Current passing by, steady and slow pooling in the flats, swirling into eddies behind fallen tree trunks and rocks, tumbling through ripples and rapids, pouring past my son and me, 350 cubic feet per second, never to return to this spot again. Now walking against the current, it's every bit as hard as they say, and silt will swallow a leg like wet cement. Green Ohio slate is slippery when wet. And the water is invariably deeper than it looks. Sometimes you have to carry a boy across that river when his boots aren't tall enough, or they're both for left feet because his mom got him on sale somewhere, and this young man will cling to you like one of those films of laboratory monkeys, wriggling, spooking and jerking, knocking you off balance while you raid across, and you'll nearly fall more times than the boy will ever know or you will ever care to admit to. Because the day will come when you let him lead, search out his own path, not worried anymore that he's going to drown, so that when he slips and falls, you know to go around. Thinking to yourself, better him than me. A lot of my stuff starts out true, and I get that question a lot from kids. Ask me if everything I write is true, and I say yes, it's true, whether it happened or not. And I think that's the goal that I'm working with the kids, to try to get them to write so they can recreate an instance so that it seems true. But a lot of truth comes out of things, and this is based on a true story too, called For Emily. A wild bird in the house portends bad luck, even death. So said my grandmother, she of Slovenian descent. This superstition, though, transcends nationalities. Migrating across the imaginary boundaries demarcating countries, Italians, Greeks, Scandinavian, Irish, Chinese, they all warn against harboring undomesticated things with feathers. The cats wake us at sunrise, howling and chasing through the front of the house, and I assume they are fighting over another imaginary feline slight, and then I recognize the flutter of wings in distress. So I put on my slippers. The mourning dove shivers wedged behind the grandfather clock, while cattails twitch in pendulum precision. Feathers littering the room betray the mayhem that had only just subsided. I eyed the bird's beak, thin, pointed, needle-like, and I weighed the chances of disease. As I cupped its warm, weightless, and hollow-boned body in my hands, pinning its wings with my palm to its side, I opened the door with my elbow, and then I tossed it into the air. Two more, three more.
Sounds good.
Two more. All right. I'm a recovering Catholic. You know about that. I went to parochial schools. And when I went to parochial schools, we had real nuns. They don't have nuns in parochial schools anymore. There were very few of them. We had nuns whose whole goal in life was to cause pain. When I was in first grade, all clip-on tied and cowlick, my front teeth seemingly the size of slide projector screens going to a Catholic school, we were given these insurance sheets. Opportunities for our parents to benefit financially from our unexpected death or dismemberment. Sister Mary Imelda would pass out these flyers, her pewter crucifix pendulum swaying around her neck, oldest and only, please, and we were supposed to take these brochures home in a yellow bus-riding bundle, along with our H.R. Puffin stuffed tin lunch boxes and the gym clothes that always needed washing. Some church-affiliated agency, the Cleveland Diocese, had a newspaper, too, the Universe Bulletin. They sent us door to door, hawking subscriptions to the Universe Bulletin, as if anyone really wanted to subscribe to the Universe Bulletin, an early lesson in humility and failure. I always did much better with the Christmas cards, the holiday candles, and the chocolate bars. Anyway, on these glossy insurance sheets were listed cash rewards for the loss of various body parts. Like one of those charts you see in a butcher shop. Dotted lines demarcating a flank steak from a rump roast. We could see what we were worth. A list of payouts scheduled, a la carte. Loss of an index finger or thumb? $2,500. Any of the other fingers? $1,600. Eyesight in one eye, $5,200. An accidental chopping off of a whole hand, $5,000. One leg, $5,500. Two legs, $10,000. All the bits and pieces assigned their numeric value, culminating in loss of life, a cool $50,000. Now, I don't recall if I wondered why my parents had sent me to such a dangerous place. Whether I became a little more careful when closing my desktop, or what my 7-year-old brain with absolutely no value attached to it shopped for as I perused this list. A mini bike for a ring finger on my left hand, perhaps. And I've only just rediscovered this scene right now, 4 decades later. But I'm sure subconsciously it's had some sort of lasting effect. Well, I appreciate being asked here. I don't get to read to people that are old enough to drink very often anymore. It doesn't mean that my audiences don't drink, they're just not old enough. And I'm going to do the last one I'm going to do tonight, the title poem from this collection, Stingray. And this too is a true story. I saw this happen. The young man believed he had hooked an angel shark. His line ripping from his bait casting reel, dry click whizzing away like a New Year's Eve noisemaker attached to an electric drill, and the rest of the anglers at his end of the pier while they grabbed their gear, clearing the way to watch this fight. Big fish, big fish, big fish, big fish on, passes tide steady down that 600-foot fishing pier as tackle lay abandoned on weather-cured planks so that the owners could catch this show. 50-pound test line stretching tight, guttural cat howling like an out-of-tune violin, while our young man, now he's rappelling down a mountainside, back-leaning with all his weight, gaining 3 feet, giving up 2, towed from one rough-hewn railing to the other for 3 torturous quarters of an hour before we even see that fish. Rolling near the surface, like a king-size sheet flashing by in a washing machine filled with dark green ink, the white underside of a 150-pound stingray slicing by for a fraction of eternity, then diving as if it were sucked down a drain. His fiberglass composite rod broomstick thick, arches downward toward the moon's reflected static scribbled across the waves 20 feet below this pier, like a catapult, the instant before sword slices rope. And our guy, though, he's hanging tight, and time stops, and it solidifies, crystallizing in the corner of one's mouth like the grimy residue of sea spray, while we all wait this eternity of seconds, tick, 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 ticking away, each one of us expecting that line to snap. But he's hanging on. When most would have cut it loose by now. I mean, a stingray is a garbage fish after all. It's not fit for food, too expensive for the taxidermist bench, but somehow it's become a matter of principle to this kid. And the rod, it starts to slowly unbend like an arching dinosaur's neck, and the fish breaks the surface and surrenders. A giant three-pronged gapping hook attached to tire swing rope pulls this fish up, dripping like a Volkswagen being lifted from a farm pond by a crane, and 3 men haul it over the railing, drop it onto the deck with its slick white belly up, blood spatter illuminated by a mercury vapor lamp, a softball-sized mouth full of pointed teeth gasping in the terrible air. And the first baby was a surprise. Like a black dinner plate gliding out from underneath a cabled rug, but 4 more followed, and each, mindful of that stinger, were gingerly tossed back into the sea by the astonished fishermen. And the mother, she's heaved over, smacking the water spread eagle flat with the sound of trees split by lightning cracking, predator attracting blood, billowing wake, trailing her escape, while her offspring, fish, born out of water, fly in formation, oblivious to her sacrifice.